Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel AK Coding. If you are new here, I am Akshay and I break down complex front-end concept so you can become a smarter and faster React developer. Today we are diving into a common mistake many React developers, especially beginners, make, that is using useRef for the state management. But it's not what it's designed for. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly when to use useRef, when to avoid it, and what to use instead. Let's dive right into it. Let's start with the basics. What is useRef? Well, useRef is a hook that lets you persist values across three renders without causing a re-render when value changes. For example, const myref is equal to useRef, default value is 0, myref.current is equal to 10, right? Whenever any state change and DOM is re-render, but myref value 10 will not change. Here is use cases. This is a great way like accessing DOM nodes. If you want to access DOM directly, then you can use useRef to access DOM nodes. Keeping track of timers. Let's suppose you are running a timer in your system, in your application, like let's suppose you are sending OTP and you have used a timer that will count down to recent OTP. In that case, it will useful. Or store mutable value that doesn't need to trigger when DOM or re-renders. But here is a big blunder that usually developer does. Some developer use useRef to store value instead of using useState. They are thinking optimizing performance, but that is actually blunder. Here is example. Const count is equal to useRef default value 0, and here is the increment function that handles click, that is count.current plus is equal to 1, that is responsible to increment counter. This works, but there is a problem. The UI doesn't re-render when count.current changes. That means your user interface is state, and that dangerous for the most applications. The key point, useRef is not reactive. If your value need to trigger a UI update, you must use useState or use reducer. Let's compare two with a real example, a simple counter. I am taking a simple counter that can implement using useRef, that is not correct way, and using useRef, that is correct and preferred way to implement counter in the application. Here with useRef, const count is equal to useRef default value is 0. If increment function, that is count.current plus is equal to 1, that is increment value. With useState, the correct and preferred way, const count set count is equal to useState default value 0. The increment function, that is set count previous plus 1. The second version is reactive and it will change the value when DOM is re-renders. That's a correct way and that which usually we should do. So when should you use useRef? Well, here is a 4 key use cases. Number 1, if you need to access DOM element directly and you want to modify or access the property of DOM nodes directly. In that case, you should use useRef. Number 2, you want to store a value without triggering a re-render, right? If you want to store value that doesn't impact the DOM re-render, in that case you should prefer useRef. Number 3, you are tracking intervals, timeout or previous value. In that use case you should prefer or use useRef. Number 4, you are storing value in a custom hook where reactivity doesn't need, right? Here is examples. Let's suppose you are accessing input DOM element, right? So in that case you should use cons input ref is equal to useRef and input ref is equal to input ref, right? So here you can access input DOM element directly. Example number 2, that is timer id, cons timer id is equal to useRef default value null, right? If you are trying to store and manage state in your app, use these instead. Option number 1, use state. If you want to store simple values like string, numbers and boolean, in that case you can use useState to manage the state of your app, right? Is option number 2, use reducer. You can use reducer if your state logic is complex and it has multiple related values. In that case you can use reducer. Option number 3, global state management. If you want to manage your state of application globally, in that case you can prefer context API. The context API is a lighter global state management API. And you can also use Redux, that is used for the larger applications. Here is real world tips. You can combine useRef and useState instead of custom hooks. You can track your previous state using useRef. Here is a simple example. Cons previous value is equal to useRef. In useEffect value, you can preserve your previous state, that is previous value dot current is equal to value, right? This let you compare current and previous values without causing extra re-renders. Super powerful, right? useRef is not for state update that should change the UI. It's a tool for persistent without reactivity. Use it wisely. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more awesome tech insight video. See you next time. Until then, keep coding and stay curious.